Hi everyone, it's Juilliard here at Artful Elements Studio, and today I'm going to be sharing with you a product that I've used for a long time, and I thought it would be perfect to make these DIY bezels with. Look at this magical stuff. This is called French Bullion. Isn't it so amazing? It's like spaghetti noodles, right? It has such fluidity. It comes in lots of different colors. I've got 3 of them here. This is the rose gold, and it has a different texture to it. And then, of course, the gold. But it's just such a phenomenal material. And, of course, it's metal, so it's perfect for all kinds of clay projects like quick cure clay and polymer clay, and of course resin for sure, and lots of other things. And I'm going to cut this little piece here and show you. So it's a coil of wire, of a very fine wire. Look at that noodly effect. Anyway, it's that coil or that springy design, right, that makes it that fluid. And here I'm just going to pull it apart for you to show you that coil. Look how fine that is. We can find all kinds of uses for this. You know, it was used for doing embroidery, French embroidery, and I used to use it in ceramics. But the fact that, you know, we have all different ways of molds and different ways of using resin now, I thought, how about a bezel? So I've just, you know, found a pattern, and let me get all this out of the way here. Okay, so like I said, you're going to need a pattern. Now you can draw this or print it, whatever you want, and then some resin tape. This just helps us press this wire down. Here I'm just showing you where I did a little teardrop for a test, and it was perfect. So yeah, and because this is so fluid, unlike wire when we uncoil it or whatever, texture wise it is going to let us do this. And then here I'm showing you can actually thread another piece of wire to even get more rigidity, and then I've just twisted it up. But you know, wire wrap artists, you know, you're doing an edge on something, having that little bit of extra wire in there will give you the body that you need too. So now I'm just going to lay the design underneath my mat, and that way I can see it. And then of course the tape just clings to the silicone pad here. You do want to use a silicone mat that it'll hold it down, or just tape it down. And I cut a little piece of the gold, just so that way I know that it's gonna cover the entire parameter. And then I'm using the Epoxy Resin Store's UV resin, and then whatever findings and things or other little things that you would like to add to it, glitter. And then you're going to need your wire cutters and tweezers and something to move your resin around with. Now these are these little eye pins, but they have a ball on the end of them, and I'm going to use them to mount them to that cork for that little bottle. I thought it'd be kind of neat to do that. So here we go. And, you know, and like I said, you can peel it up. Just use your tweezers to kind of help lay it down. This design is a pretty small one, so, you know, I'm gonna work with a little bit to get those little tight turns. But you can see it just, you're able to manipulate it very well, and then work it around. And then if you don't like what you've done, you know, just be careful pulling it back up, because you don't want to spring it. Or I guess it was considered sprung. But anyway, you just want to keep working it around until you follow your parameter of your design. I chose the dragonfly just so that you could see how it follows those tight patterns. Those wings are pretty tight. And now remember too, also the adhesive on your tape is important. But this went fairly easily. You do get your finger stuck to your tape once in a while, so if you've got some baby powder, it's not a bad idea to take a little cotton swab or your finger and just rub the outer parameter of your tape. You have to be really careful not to diminish the sticky where your wire's going to go. That's the only thing about using a powder, is you risk it, getting elsewhere. But anyway, so I'm just following the wings, and then we're going to get it in there, and we'll tuck and cut it and get that pressed down real well. I could have easily left this off and attached a bead there, because of that, because it's a tube, right? You could run a small piece of wire through a bead and then tuck that into the two sides of the wing, and that would be cool as well. So now I'm just pinching the edges of the wing there to get real good defined pattern, but I'm pretty pleased with that. And of course I know it's gonna look good on my project. So now here we're taking some of the UV resin. You're just gonna fill the cavity in, and we're not gonna do a whole lot. We're not gonna do like that doming coat, because right now we're just giving a base for it, and we'll spread it all out, making sure it gets all to all the sides of the wire. The fact that this is a coil too is going to have little bitty areas that the resin's going to be able to attach to, which gives it tooth, and really helps secure that. Now you could always brush around the edges to just make sure that everything is solid and secure, but there you go. And now I'm just going in with some glitter, whatever your favorite ones are. If you have a Cricut or a Cameo, it's a nice thing too, is you could cut a pattern and leave that actually underneath the wire afterwards, right? You have your cutout piece and you've done this, then you could affix the image to the back for others, or if you've got tattoos or other little decal that would give the wing pattern. I mean, it's just endless. It's just endless. And here I'm just putting on some little rhinestones in the tail area. Getting it put in there really well, and some glitter. And we'll cure it. And it doesn't take too long. Just that. You want to, just give it make sure it's got a good cure. And I would flip it over and cure the back side as well, just in case you have any opaque, or even gets too opaque, right? That the light can't travel through to cure that. But and then we're just gonna peel it off. It's that simple. So I mean, you could see. I mean, can you imagine? Holidays are coming. If you celebrate Christmas, you could do an ornament shape. Halloween, some bat wings. I mean, and you could always paint the wire as well. So there we go. So now I'm just gonna mount that, and I'm gonna use these little head pins with the ball. We'll take a couple of them and get them adjusted to the size, but I'm just gonna poke them down into that cork, and we'll cut them off to the height that we need. Get them in and get them secured. I just add a little bit of UV resin or some glue, some super glue, but get them affixed. And then I will add a little drop of glue to the back side of the dragonfly and cure that. I'm gonna do it in an angle. That way when I put the cork back in the bottle, the dragonfly will be in an angle to the bottle. I thought that would be kind of fun. But I mean, I know you all do so many wonderful things. You won't have any problem. You're gonna love this wire if you've never worked with it before, and you'll just keep thinking of all kinds of things you can do with it. So there I have, doing my final cure. I think the next one I'd like to do is be like a little bumblebee. But there it is, a French Bullion wire dragonfly bezel. Thanks guys, and I hope you had